What's up, Wesson?
What's up, Kasey?
See, now you're talking. Welcome to the GM Perspective. We are joined by GM Unified Bocce coaches, Abbie, Gula, and Wesson as players, and Mr. Cannata as someone who administrates and helps with the Unified program. Welcome in, guys.
Hey, great to have you here, or be here.
So, Mr. Cannata, explain, or whoever wants to, explain to us how Unified Bocce started at General McLean.
I'll take that one. We started about 3 years ago. We've been trying to get bocce out here in this part of the state since the inception of Unified. Unified started in the state of Pennsylvania in 2015, and when we had met with the Special Olympics people about the different sports that we could offered, obviously we were starting track and field, but they said that there was potential for bocce as a sport as well. So we've been trying for since the inception of Unified to try to get bocce here, and they started. They made some poor choices and started in other parts of the state before they moved it out to this region. So they moved it out to this region about 3 years ago. We initially started with about 5 teams, and it's tripled in size in that short amount of time. There's been a lot of new members each year, even including this year. There's multiple regions within this region, and so it's definitely up and running. It's a fun sport, and I think it's nice because anybody can do it.
Has Wesson been here from the beginning?
Weston is a founding member of the bocce team, huh, Wesson?
Yep.
Do you remember your first bocce match, Wesson?
I don't know. You can ask Mr. Cannata about that.
First bocce match was at McDowell. They hosted the first match, which we won both matches. If you remember that, Wesson.
I do, actually.
Listen, I think we like to win. What do you think?
I like to win because Abbie is here and she's the best player I've ever seen.
Oh, thanks, Wesson.
And also, Miss Burrell and Miss Keinath is the best coaches because they're the best because Miss Burrell is kind and Miss Keinath sometimes be kind. Sometimes.
Just sometimes.
So we move into coaching. What does that look like, and have you guys been the coaches from the beginning as well?
So I was hired at GM 3 years ago, and I got involved my first year in the Unified Sports. And then Elise was actually hired the year after I was hired, and she just jumped right in too. So we've been coaching now for the past 2 years together.
And what does that look like to coordinate bocce? I mean, obviously it's not as a high stress coordinating as other sports, but I'm sure there's a lot involved into that too.
Yeah, there's a lot set up. We have to set up the court every time we practice, so that takes a couple minutes. And then just kind of getting used to the surfaces while we're practicing and the feel of the ball, which is a little different. So just practicing that every time and then working on strategies as we get more comfortable with how to throw and everything.
Alrighty, Wesson, explain to me how you throw a bocce ball.
So how to throw a basketball is like how to throw a plana and who goes closer to the ball, you can get a point.
So it's kind of like horseshoes. Whoever's closest to that plane, you can only earn 1 to 4 points depending on the proximity of your ball against the opposing team.
Nice. And Abbie, so you've played it. So how does the taking between regular ed sports and unified sports, and you both can answer on it, what that gives you a different light into seeing sports? What does that do for you?
Going into it, I kind of thought it would be like less stress, which it is, but at the same time, it's almost just like a regular sport. You're like strategizing with your team players, you're playing the sport, you're trying to win. So honestly, I would say it's not much different from a regular sport.
Would you agree, Mr.?
Yeah, I think. I mean, obviously, the overall point of that is to give every kid in the building an opportunity to be involved with something. You know, that's the most important thing. But I do think one of the pieces that's a very big positive is to see that interaction with the unified partners and athletes. When they're doing that strategy, there's a lot of conferencing and there's a lot of talking and working together. So it's really developing some of those inclusionary practices that we want to develop with these kids and give them those opportunities to be successful.
How do we take the inclusionary practices in there and try to spread them? I mean, obviously we have things that we're doing throughout the entire building, and that probably comes to our coaches and players to make everyone unified. And
well, I think a lot of that goes back to modeling. I think that the opportunities there for other kids to see kids like Abbie and Izzy and working with some of our athletes and to model that, and some of that's just kids not sure what to expect when you're working with different populations. So I think it provides an opportunity for them to see that and open those doors for them to get involved. One of the things about Unified Sports too is we're trying to do it all year long to give different kids that opportunity to do that unified sport.
coaches, you guys see them working together, and what's that look like, and how do you guys feel when you see that all working together?
So I would say on a daily basis, we have our group and we're split up into two teams, a team 1 and a team 2, and the athletes and the partners develop really strong bonds with each other on just that basis of inclusion. So in the beginning, we might see that the partners are a little bit hesitant interacting with the athletes, but through the course of a season, their bonds develop and they strengthen. And I know last year we had a bond between an athlete and a partner that was so strong, and we actually had tears in our eyes when the partner was graduating and heading to college. So it's definitely a bond like no other.
Nice. Wesson, who's your partner that you have created a bond with, or do you have a bond with all of them?
By our teammates like Easy and by Evan.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the other girl's name.
And Evan's new this year, so you guys became friends pretty quickly, which is nice.
Yeah.
When we're getting ready to prepare for a bocce match, what do you do before, Wesson? Do you just get to hang out? Do you have to help set up? What does that look like for you?
We have to set up, and after set up, we have to say the pledge, and after the pledge, toss coin. Whoever win with headed and tails, you can pick a color like between red and green.
Abbie, so do you have, it's obviously a different sport than like a basketball or football or something in that nature, but do you have something that you do every time before a match to get yourself ready to do that? Or you, Wesson?
I would say, we always try to roll the Polina like a few times each person, and we also just try to like strategize. We'll roll the balls for a shorter distance and then a longer distance. And we did just start at our last match. We said Lancers before, which I think that we should keep that going for further matches ahead.
Yeah, I agree.
Further matches, so we have one coming up in a few days to end this season. What has the overall of this season looked like in competitions with other schools, and how has that turned out for us? Whoever wants it. Like scores and...
I'll start with that, and then we'll let the coaches and players jump in on that. I think it's been a fantastic season so far. We are in a different region than what we were last year, and I think that we match up pretty well with the competition. We have two teams. Team 1 only has one loss on the season. We just played Fairview last week, and we took care of them pretty easily. So we're hoping we have Gerard tomorrow night, and hoping that Coach Burrell and Coach Keinath can have these guys ready so we can roll into the playoffs and see some success.
I think the thing that's really unique about Unified Sports is that obviously there's some competitive nature in it, but both teams are there to have fun and kind of uplift each other. And so that's a really nice element to see the teammates on opposing sides are friends. Sometimes Wes has friends from other schools, and they cheer each other on, and it's just a really positive atmosphere for everybody.
Positive atmosphere. Obviously, we've had matches. What does the inside of a match look like, Wesson? Do you feel like the energy? Are there a lot of fans there?
There's a lot of fans, like my friends, and sometimes I talk too much.
You do a lot of talking? I can see that.
It is funny, though, because a lot of times the matches are really quiet. You need to concentrate. But we do get to talk with each other and, again, with the opposing teams, and they get to be friends and cheer each other on.
Cheering each other on. Mr. Keinath, explain to us, or whoever, a little bit more about the entire Unified program and how it has grown, and then isn't there a strength and conditioning coming up as well, and does that tie into bocce, and how many of the kids are involved in all the Unified sports?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to answer that is to give you the kind of the history on that. We started track and field back in 2015, and we've been going strong with that ever since. And then introduced bocce 3 years ago. I think a lot of that starts with it. I think one of the things that sets General McLean apart from a lot of other districts is we have the student support and we have the administration support. And that's really what paves the way for those programs to be successful. And then to add an additional sport that we added this year, strength and conditioning, which we are the first high school in Pennsylvania to have that, and they're going to spread that out in the state starting next year. So
Really?
I feel pretty lucky to be part of that, and like I said, it goes from the school board has always been extremely supportive of Unified, as long as the administration and the student body. When you look at the polar plunge and the amount of kids that participated in that and the amount of money that we raised as a community says a lot about General McLean.
How is the General McLean community and has it taken on this bocce? Is it out? Does people know about it? How's that going?
I think it's definitely out there. I think I do get people that'll stop me randomly and want to know what the latest is with the bocce season and where we're at and how many wins we have. And I think that people are it's a hard sport to kind of understand as far as what the rules are and how you earn points. And how the matches work, but I think people are definitely interested and love to see the kids involved with that.
Wesson, do you get stopped on the street asking about bocce?
Nope, so I can talk to much people, like Miss Burrell and Miss Keinath.
But Wesson doesn't like to talk about bocce outside of school?
Nope, actually, I like bocce because Mr. Cannata said I like bocce because between bocce and track too, and pole plunge.
What's your favorite out of the three?
Probably one is bocce, one is track, and the third is pole plunge.
So you like to get wet and cold and jump in cold water?
Yeah, and the snow too.
Wes, you killed strength and conditioning this year when you were benching. You did really good with
And I definitely,
Yeah. You're just an all-around athletic guy.
and that's why I got muscles.
That's why you got
for
muscles.
sure.
Players and coaches, what is one of your favorite memories of the team, either this year or through the career of it being started at General McLean?
I would say that one of my favorite memories actually happened last week.
I was just going to say that, too.
Miss Keinath usually takes over our Team 1, and I usually take over Team 2. And Team 2 was really struggling to get their first win, and we had went into the match, and we actually lost against their Team 2. And then we went up against their Team 1 and came out with a win. And it was just great to see how happy all the players were. And with that win, and I definitely think it's going to help boost their confidence to help them become Team 1 players someday.
Yeah.
Is Team 1 and Team 2 like a varsity and JV, or is it just randomly put 1 and 2?
I mean, you could have both teams potentially make the playoffs, but definitely our Team 1 is our more seasoned players.
What team are you on, Wesson?
Team 1.
Abbie?
Team 1.
So it seems like Team 1 is our winning team. And moving into playoffs, what does that look like, and where is something like playoffs take place for this area?
In the last few years, the playoffs have happened at Harper Creek, but with the expansion of so many teams that are part of it now, they're going to have a couple regional matches to make it on to the next level. So we are still at the point they have not determined that. I'm hoping probably going to be the third or fourth weekend in February.
And we usually on these, so we're Unified Bocce, and then anything else, what else do people need to know about bocce, or if they're looking to join the sport next year?
Well, I think I don't want to speak for Coach Burrell and Coach Keinath, but we're looking forward to track and field starting. Last year, they're very modest, but they ended up fourth in the state. So that's very commendable for track and field. So our next sport that we'll be looking for people will be Unified Track and Field, and that's as easy as just seeing one of us and letting us know you're interested, and we can go from there.
What do you think, Wesson? Should someone join Unified Track and Field?
Yes, like Coach Burrell and Miss Keinath.
I also want to say for like track and field or even bocce, the practices are only Monday and Wednesdays for an hour, so people should definitely join. It's not like high commitment neither.
Exactly. Yeah, we're always looking for new people. I feel like we definitely have a strong growing in the upper grades, but where we're really lacking is in 9th and 10th grade. So if we could get some of those people involved, we'd be extremely happy.
Involved, and do you think the school community and like our students have grown to enjoy these sports more, and have they seen them more than they would have? Like, has it grown our school community from this unified program?
I feel at least this year I've seen a lot more fans come out for our matches this year than last year even. So that's nice to see that just within a year we have more fans and more people coming to see us and support, which is really nice.
Nice. So on all these podcasts, we talk about highlight a player that doesn't always get the recognition. Who we can go around? Who would be your player that doesn't always get the recognition?
That's a tough question because I think all of them do a fantastic job. But I would have to say that it's been nice to see Maddie and Abbie are new this year. So they've done a fantastic job of really stepping up to being a part of that team one. And I think that Wesson is always doing a fantastic job. He's definitely one that you can count on for a specific role, and if we get into team two, I think Grace Rukowski and Bella have done a fantastic job of leading that team, and they don't have the experience yet, but they're very positive and have worked great with that team to try to get them to be as successful as they can.
Abbie, who's your person that doesn't get the recognition?
I would say Aiden McFadden. He's usually on my side for team one, and we can always count on him to either be first, be last. He's always willing to change, to however that we kind of want him, or whatever that works well during that match.
Mm-hmm. Yours?
I was also going to say Aiden McFadden. He's always really positive and excited to be there no matter what, and kind of like Abbie said, down for anything they want to do to strategize to win or anything. He's always like, yeah, I'll do it. Sure, let's go.
Wesson, who's your person?
My person is Abbie. And she's a nice person because she's the best player I've ever seen, and she's doing. I taught her hold the player at the wall side.
Mm-hmm. And I've actually used that a lot. That's worked.
Who's your player?
Going along with the Aiden, this is Aiden Joyce on Team 2. And Aiden Joyce, it's his first year playing bocce. And I think in the beginning he was a little hesitant whether or not he was liking it. I'd even asked him at one point, and he's like, oh, it's not the best. But we just had a match, and he was our shining star. And he's really starting to strategize and being able to roll that ball close to the Polina to score us points. So I would say that he's my player.
Alrighty, how many players are totally involved in the unified program? In the unified ball, how many kids are on? Are there only 8? What is it, 8? Or are there more than just the 2 teams?
Well, for bocce, we have about 16. For track and field, what was your guys' number last year for track and field?
24-ish, 25.
Yeah, and for strength and conditioning this year, because it was the first year, we went with 8. So a pretty good grouping there.
Nice. Does anyone have any final words? Wesson? So, should people come out and see you tomorrow night?
Yep.
Alrighty. For the GM Perspective, I'm Kasey Ramey, joined by a wonderful group of guests. Make it a great week and spread kindness when you can.
Hey, thank you.